Hey everyone, good evening. It is Sunday evening and I don't know, I just felt in the mood of filming. This is my second attempt because it's so like I'm so not used anymore to making videos for YouTube that I think I have lost practice and I have lost the gist of it. But there is no doubt that one of the things which really I love the most is talking to people and to myself. Talking, vocalizing my thoughts and emotions helps me gain a lot of clarity. It boosts my confidence. It makes everything more clear. And I love writing, of course. I love expressing myself in many, many ways. But I think the auditory way, the vocal way, the verbal way is what I feel works best for me. I was talking about being in your 30s, becoming older, gaining wisdom, maturity, experience, and just discovering life, experiencing life in all of its shades, and just growing your journey. I have no idea if everyone feels that way. Of course, I think that when we are talking about self growth, healing, enlightenment, and all of that, it's always like not everyone will relate because not everyone goes through that journey. Some people are very fine living a superficial life, not questioning anything. They are not even aware of that. What is enlightenment? What is growth? They are not even aware of that. So without any judgment, but only a couple of people, a handful of people might really be into that whole concept of self-growth and all of that. So my point is, there is no doubt that when you know your 20s and your 30s, those in my opinion feel like two completely different era. I have to say that when I was in my early adulthood, early 20s, I never felt like I was truly an adult. I felt like I was just a teenager and just my age like was just a digit. My life basically, there was nothing that had changed that much. It's only when I started to work and then I started to really live on my own that I felt like an adult. And then years passed by, and again, I felt like I never truly felt like anything massive had changed in my life. Because let's face it, if you are not married, you're not a mom, you're just single and living in your parents' house, it's very difficult to feel like your life is in your hands, because most often your life is not truly totally in your hands. There are many decisions that you can't take or that you don't want to take because your life is intricately, intimately linked to that of your parents. That is something that perhaps most Asian people, especially perhaps Muslims, might relate to, because there is no denying that as long as you live in someone's house, you are bound by certain rules and you are not totally free to do whatever you want to. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, you can't have everything, but just a point that I wanted to make. Because in my opinion, true adulthood, and this is something that I would say is extremely important for one to experience, is when you actually again take full responsibility for your life. You are the one who you decide like the way you want to dress, the way you want to eat, how you want to decorate your house, what kind of people you want to have, what kind of events you want to attend. And I feel very suffocated when someone tries to intrude in that and tries to invade my personal space or try to treat me like a baby. I don't think that's very empowering at all. In all due love and respect, I'm not saying that you should bash your parents for caring about you and for wanting to help you. That's a very natural thing, I think. And we are lucky to have our parents, to have them care for us and want to make our lives easier. But at some point, like I personally, I can tell for myself, I'm the type of woman, like at this specific stage in my life, I want to be able to deal with my own shit. And the minimum reliance that I need to have, I will take that. I don't want to depend on people for things that I can manage on my own. So yeah, of course, I feel like before my 30th birthday, I do feel like I'm really in a sort of, I wouldn't say existential crisis, because many times in my life I have really stopped and ask myself deep questions. Even when I was 18 years old, that was quite young, but I was still like very philosophical, very deep, very. I would reflect about life, and I would ponder over the question of suffering, the meaning of life, my role on earth, relationships, what is right, what is wrong, and what we should be doing on earth. And I feel like, again, at the dawn of 30, like being in your 30s, this is something that really not upsets me, but it's there. Because let's face it, guys, life is so short, and I feel like time is flying. I've never witnessed something like that before. So every day I ask myself, like, it's not that you're unhappy with your life. I feel very blessed. I feel like God has blessed me with so much that I probably don't deserve. But at the same time, there are some things which are perhaps buried in you, and you feel like every day, you feel like something is missing or that things could be better. For example, I always keep saying that lately my main thought is when it comes to my talents, my hobbies, things which I love to do. There are many things which we stop doing because when we are busy earning a living in our 9 to 5 jobs, we can't really fit in those activities in our busy schedule. I don't know how married people do. I don't know how people with kids do. I'm not saying that people who have a family or how people who are married cannot have a life on their own, but most of the time I have observed that I have really seen someone who is married and has kids doing something like a hobby on their own. It does exist, but it is quite rare, and it's very good. I think it's very important for someone to have that alone time and do what they like to do. Your family is a responsibility. You will care for them. You have lots of things to do as an adult. Forget about being married or not. I think that any adult, the more you grow old, the more you feel like you have a limited amount of time and energy, and you have so many things on your plate to do, right? From the moment you wake up, sometimes you don't even get to realize, like, what have I done today? I have just survived, I have functioned, I have gone to work, and then that's all. It's not like it's really difficult more and more to find that energy and time. Sometimes you are so exhausted that you can barely, you can barely have a life outside of work. And of course, that is extremely depressing because I don't think that our lives are meant to be that way. That's just surviving, and we are not here just to survive. We're here to thrive, right? This is also a reason why I like to make these videos. It's not for the world to watch as such. I don't know if anyone is watching, but again, like when I express myself in such a way, I feel like many things become clearer to me, and I could benefit from some more clarity because many times, we are always like, we have so many questions and doubts, and we are wondering what must be my next move in life. What should I do with my time? What should I do with my money, with my energy, with my emotions? Above all, emotions are so beautiful, and I am someone like my emotions are very intense. When I'm happy, when I'm upset, when I'm in love, when I'm in hatred, it's very intense. So I will be very honest. Like, if someone was to ask me like how happy I am on a scale of 1 to 10, I would probably say 5.5, 4.5, because I have known better days. I have known days when I was waking up feeling excited about my life and my day, and unfortunately I don't think this is the case anymore. And why it's not the case, I do ask myself that as well. Like, what should I be doing? There are so many things which I feel drain me on a daily basis. Number one, I would say trying too hard to please people. Number two, trying too hard to be perfect. Number three, what would I say actually? Yeah, not believing in myself, maybe due to past wounds, insecurities, not believing in myself, and therefore, due to the fear of failure or the fear of not living up to certain standards, you prefer to not try at all. Because again, like I'm not saying it's a good thing, but I feel like over the years I seem to be realizing that I put a lot of pressure on myself to do things perfectly. When I do something, I feel like I have to live up to certain standards, and if I don't do that, then that's not worth it. I should not do it at all. I'm trying to work on that, but obviously the road to healing is a very long road. It is not always easy. It's a journey that you feel like you are constantly, no one else will understand your journey. Sometimes you feel like you have come a really long way. Like in my own case, by the grace of God, I feel like I have come a very long way. Considering my journey, my story, my struggles that I went through, it was very difficult for me because I won't get into that story for now, but it was a very heavy baggage that I had been carrying for many, many years. And now to heal from that, it's like layer by layer. Every day I'm working on it, and every day the healing happens again, layer by layer. It's not like all of a sudden you discover some magical secret and your whole life is turned around, and then you don't hurt anymore. Sometimes you might forgive someone who has hurt you, but on some days the hurt comes back again, and it's difficult to forgive. And there are many things which keep happening in life. You can't really run away from reality. There was a point in my life where I used to think that, okay, I was dreaming to find a way of living where I would basically be shielded from the realities of life and people. And I thought that that would be the ideal option, just to be running away and hiding and just to live a very safe, covered, sheltered life and not deal with negativity. But that's the whole package of life. You can't have the good without the bad, right? It has taken me many, many years to reach those conclusions, and today I feel like I do get it. I get it that life will never be totally good or bad. There is always, like in every situation, you have to be the one to choose. You have to choose on what you want to focus on, and it's always possible. I feel like it's always possible to find something useful, beneficial in everything that might be challenging. I don't want to be using cheesy quotes here, but it's true that in every adversity there is an opportunity. There are many opportunities. If I have to say one final word for today, or one conclusion, or one, I don't know, I like to end on meaningful, striking note. I would say that I am very impressed by my bravery lately. Although I feel like I am not satisfied with my performance in many areas of my life. That is something that eats me, that tortures me, and I'm not very comfortable with that knowledge. I feel like I could have been doing way better. But there is one thing that I am really, really amazed by in myself, and that is my strength of character, my bravery, my commitment to truth, integrity, and justice. Lately, there have been situations in my life where I was really confronted to certain kinds of toxicity, things which are really not correct from any angle, and I did not hesitate to voice out, because no one else, very few people have that bravery. Most people don't have guts. Most people don't want to be antagonized. They don't want to be disliked, so they will stay silent and just deal with, they will not voice out. And I have been one of the few people that I know, especially as a woman. I'm saying that because women are always told that you have to do not be too vocal, do not be too expressive, do not be too opinionated, do not be too visible. But I think that's bullshit. You have a moral, civic duty to express yourself, fight for your rights when something wrong is happening. And I think that, again, I should give myself a pat on the back, because it takes a lot of bravery to do that, especially if you are afraid for your own, I don't know, your own safety and well-being, but yet you're choosing to fight for what's right. I would say that I'm extremely, extremely brave, and I haven't seen that trait in other people. So sometimes you have to compliment yourself instead of being a people pleaser and always admiring what other people are doing. Just wake up, acknowledge the greatness within yourself. I'm not saying that everyone should agree with what I'm doing or applaud me, but I have the right to applaud myself. And I promise myself that from now on, the moment I feel tempted to say something negative about myself in my mind, I don't care what people are always going to have something to say to you. You know, you can't please everyone, and that's not how you should, that's not what you should be doing either. But you do have an option every time you catch yourself going to say or think something negative about yourself, just replace that by something extremely uplifting, positive, and true. Because trust me, you deserve your compliments probably the most. On that note, good night, and I hope that I'm going to be more active on my channel. I keep saying that again, but it's really very hard to motivate yourself when you're not feeling it.